How's it going, guys? Welcome back to this week's video. Today we are going to be fitting a new front mount intercooler to the VXR. So just behind me on the floor down there is the box with the intercooler in, the pipe work and all that sort of stuff, and I'll show you where all that goes as the video goes on. But for me, for now, I'm going to have to get the front end all apart, and once I've got the front bumper off, I'll show you the bits that we've got to take off, and I'll tell you why. In here is all the stuff we're going to need, the intercooler, the joiners and the pipe work. So that's all under there. So we need to get this off. 3, 2, 1. Just like that, the bumper's off. Shocking transition. So anyway, bumper's on top of the car and I've got it resting on some old towels so it doesn't damage the roof. And on here you can see a rivet, and there's one just on the other side as well over there. So we've got to drill those out so that we can get this plastic piece off. This is the plastic piece where the clips are that hold the bumper on. So that's got to come off. Take these out, take the headlights out, and then I'll show you what's next. So I think they're just 3 bolts. I think there's one there, the one up there, and I believe just that one there, the 3 bolts. They look like 8 mils, so whip those headlights off and then we'll start on this crash bar. As you can see, that's the headlights out. Now I've already undone this electrical harness from the crash bar. I'm going to take it off from here. Now the bolts on the top have nuts underneath, and the nuts are a 13 mil, so I've got a deep reach 13 mil. And then these ones on top are these inverted Torx, and it's an E12. So yeah, an E12 on the Torx on the top, and then a 13 mil spanner underneath. Take them off next. Then, as you'll have seen from that, guys, that is the crash bar removed. Now, I did forget about the washer bottle. Under here, there's a 10 mil, and there's also a 10 mil there. So undo those, and then that frees up the washer bottle so you can sort of get in behind it to sort of these bolts a bit better. And there's a couple more bolts we've got to get to, which will make access a bit better with that being detached. So what I've done is I've put all the bolts back in the holes. Same with the headlight ones as well. I always do that just because then I know what bolt goes where, because I'm terrible for forgetting which bolts go anywhere. So that's what I do. Next, I'm going to have to undo this middle piece. You can see obviously there the join. So take this piece off and basically just fold it sort of back over that way, and then I'm going to be undoing this part of the intercooler and basically getting that out, because Vauxhall in their wisdom decided to put the intercooler between the radiator and the aircon rad. So yeah, nice one Vauxhall, well done. So because my battery's low, I'm going to do all of that, and then I will update you guys when I'm about to fit the new boy. So in that last clip, I did say I would get back to you the next day when I was fitting everything back up. As I was fitting it back up and filming, I was just getting more and more annoyed and wound up by different things that were happening and that I was coming across, and I didn't want the video to go the way that it was going and the way that it did end up going. So I've deleted those clips and we'll start again afresh. So I'll spin you around now and I'll show you what we've done, and I'll just explain a couple of the problems that I came across as I was fitting this cooler to the car. First up, there you can see the cooler is fitted, and everything is pretty much back on apart from the bumper. So I'll start at the top. Now this kit doesn't come with any instructions, so you're kind of guessing. So here's me explaining to you where the things are going to go with this nevlock kit. Starting off, this one here with the little ridge obviously attaches to your top hat and goes to this hard pipe, which has a funky bend in it, and just there you can see where this is here, it's got a plate welded to it. Now that's so that you can attach it to the top of the current radiator. I couldn't get a bolt to fit in there because on the top, it's difficult to show you, but sort of underneath here, the pipe is actually hitting the top of the radiator, so you can just see there I couldn't quite get it to sort of line up. You can't really move it down any further or, you know, push the radiator up, so that was a problem. But it doesn't matter because it's clamped in by this piece anyway, and as you can see there, I've had to cut a section out there to sort of get this to fit. Now if you try and move that, it barely moves, so it's clamped in there quite well. I've put this piece here to stop obviously the metal of the body rubbing on the metal of this pipe. So then it's really weird, this bit, because the end of this metal pipe, I'll put a picture on the screen if I've got one, stops about there, and the top of the intercooler is about there. There's about 3-inch difference, but this is a 45-degree elbow, and it's just massive. It didn't need to be that big. I could have used the one on the top with the little ridge on that I've just showed you. I could have used that and it would have fit completely fine. So that was a bit of a pain, like I say, trying to fit that. Whilst we're on this side, there's a bracket there, you can just see just there. I'll put a picture of that on the screen. Now, here's where another problem that I ran into. I had to use a lot of my own hardware, like bolts and screws and stuff, because it didn't come with any. So this kit, like I say, is the Nevlock kit, and the kit that I've seen Yoda fit, his video was massive help. I'd have been still here trying to do it now if it wasn't for him, because of some of the pipe work was, excuse me, similar. So thank you for that, mate. Link in the description for his channel and that video, because it was extremely helpful. So yeah, that led into the intercooler. Sorry, the bracket, that's what I was talking about. So with the bolts that come out of the radiator, like the one up there and a couple down here, you can reuse. So like the bolt there, and there's another one just down there. Those were the ones that came off the car, so they've only gone back on the car. But that bolt there, I've had to use my own, because on the back of it is like a little bung welded, and you can't get, none of the bolts that come off here are long enough to go through obviously the thickness of the bracket, then the bung that's welded on, and then into the back of the radiator. So that's annoying. But yeah, that bracket goes on that side. Then you've got where it attaches to the crash bar here. So you've got obviously the one bolt there and the one bolt there. On the crash bar itself, there is already 2 holes. You just need to tap into it. Now, like I say, in Yoda's kit, he had 2 self tappers that he was able to put in there. I had none, so I've had to tap my own holes and put those screws in. Then we'll come over to this bracket here. Again, I'll put a picture up of this one. That one there, that bolt is my own bolt with my own nut on the back, but that one is one that was reused from that hole, so that's now in place. Then coming down here, this was probably the easier part, mainly because of Craig's video. So obviously the cooler into a 90-degree silicon elbow, and then that goes into metal hard pipe there, which is like a 90, and then it goes into a reducer which goes onto the turbo and to this pipe. And also they do supply you with this bracket here, and there is a hole in the subframe just there, which obviously, as you can see, you can get a bolt through, but again, my bolts and my hardware, so another one there, and that means that the cooler is fairly solid. It's not going anywhere. So all in all, the kit is fitted and it does work quite well. I've already had the car out. Obviously I've had to take the bumper back off to refilm this bit of footage, but like I said, I couldn't use the other bit of footage. So if you do want a kit, I wouldn't suggest this one, but you know, it's not too much cheaper than the MTC one, and in fact the MTC one is bigger. So here, if you count the sort of lines of fins, I think there was about 13 on this one. On Craig's, I'm sure there was about 18. So it is a lot taller, Whether that makes a difference, I really don't know. When we get to mapping, maybe we might see some different results, but who knows, it might not make the blindest bit of difference being that little bit taller. But again, we won't know until we get to mapping. So all that's left for me to do now is get the bumper back on, plug everything back in, and go and enjoy it.